Kenneth and Waltz, Man, the State, and War, a Theoretical Analysis. Delve into the captivating world of A Man, the State, and War, a Theoretical Analysis by Kenneth and Waltz, where we explore the various perspectives on what drives humanity to engage in conflict. The book examines the complex reasons behind war, taking us on a journey through the optimistic and pessimistic first-image thinkers, the divisive second-image thinkers, and the anarchic third-image thinkers. With a focus on human nature, state structures, and international relations, this summary offers an enlightening look at the significant ideologies that aim to explain war and peace.
Understanding the two schools of thought on human nature and war. Some people believe that human nature is the direct cause of war, but they disagree on whether we can change it. First-image thinkers can be divided into optimists, who think that human nature is malleable and can be improved through education, and pessimists, who believe that external control is the only way to prevent war. Optimists like behavioral scientists aim to discover educational methods that would eliminate aggressive behavior and violence, while pessimists view human nature as unchangeable and essentially evil. Although both groups agree that human nature is the cause of war, their disagreement lies in the cure. Human nature and the illusion of optimism. The belief that human nature is fundamentally good and can be changed through education or a dominant ideology is flawed. While good and evil alternate in human acts, optimism overlooks the importance of political frameworks in managing aggressive behaviors. Though behavioral scientists and pacifists have roles to play, they must complement with the political system to curb strife in social and political systems. The debate of thinkers on the cause of wars. The concept of war and its causes has been a long-standing topic of debate between two categories of thinkers. The first category, known as first-image thinkers, consider human nature as the cause of wars. The second category, known as second-image thinkers, believe that it is the internal structure of the state that is responsible for wars. Further, the second-image thinkers can be broadly divided into two groups, liberal and socialist thinkers. The liberal thinkers argue for decentralized free market economies, which, they believe, will create social harmony and prevent conflicts. They further argue that free trade between countries discourages war. On the other hand, the socialist thinkers argue that the free market economies lead to class struggle within states and, consequently, wars. They see wars as pretexts to raise taxes and to maintain control over the proletariat. The socialist thinkers contend that eliminating capitalist states and moving to a global socialist system is the only way to abolish wars. John Stuart Mill's flaws in liberalism. John Stuart Mill, a renowned liberal thinker, asserts that liberty is the only infallible source for a better quality of life, and no individual restraints will lead to peace. However, he fails to address the issue of liberal states going to war, which disproves his assumption. Two groups of thought on how to deal with the situation emerged. The interventionists argue that a state should interfere when democracy is in danger, while the non-interventionists believe it does more harm than good. Woodrow Wilson's involvement in the First World War serves as an example of intervention, raising the question of moral justification for war. Ultimately, Mill's liberal beliefs have serious limitations when it comes to peace and interventionism in international relations. Failure of international socialism. This excerpt explores the downfall of international socialism and the Second International's failure to prevent World War I. Karl Marx and his followers believed that socialism's widespread victory would eliminate nation-states and their constant warfare. However, the Second International, a coalition of socialist parties formed in 1889, was unable to foster international solidarity and preserve peace during World War I. The socialist parties were driven by their national interests, with the largest German party ultimately supporting war credits, while socialist parties in other countries were left angered. The pre-war peace resolution allowing socialists to participate in case of a defensive war mobilized opposing socialists against each other. Consequently, socialists realized that their belief in worldwide solidarity was a delusion. The failure of international socialism was caused by the inability of socialist thinkers to reconcile their differences and realize their dreams in the midst of World War I. Though international socialism has never been established, it appears unlikely to succeed based on past experiences. Anarchy on the global level. According to third-image thinkers, the international scene is characterized by lawless anarchy, leading to conflict among sovereign states. States are like individuals in the state of nature without a higher institution of power to control them, which ultimately causes violence and conflict. While individuals must cooperate to survive, states are independent enough to not need to band together. The Swiss philosopher Rousseau argues that states don't cooperate because state conflict involves exactly the same irrational behaviors as interpersonal conflict. One reason for this is that every state's freedom of choice is limited by the actions of all others, and if everyone's strategy depends on everyone else's, then the most aggressive state determines the actions of the states aiming to preserve peace. In this way, international relations work like a strategic game without written rules. In short, third-image thinkers believe that anarchy prevails on a global level, creating a hotbed of conflict. The illusion of a world government. Third-image thinkers propose a world government to establish order and prevent anarchy, but it's only viable if every state prioritizes self-preservation. Even then, the world government would face the issue of enforcing its laws, which could lead to revenge cycles. Additionally, the leaders of the world government may not always act in the best interest of member states, potentially falling victim to personal interests or powerful nations. While an effective world government is not possible, establishing an international political framework with a binding judicial system can create some order.
In A Man, the State, and War, a Theoretical Analysis, Kenneth N. Waltz encourages readers to look beyond traditional perceptions of war, seeking new insights into conflict and peace. First-image thinkers, like optimists and pessimists, grapple with human nature and its role in generating war. Second-image thinkers explore the internal structure of the state and the opposing liberal and socialist ideologies. Meanwhile, third-image thinkers focus on the anarchic nature of international relations in their search for global order. Despite the numerous theories analyzed, it is essential to acknowledge the inherent limitations and setbacks when striving to develop a framework that guarantees world peace. A balanced view is necessary, considering human nature, state structures, and international politics to navigate the complexities of war and peace.